All right, I guess I'll start the podcast now that we're done roasting Sam. Much
Just like her
she
vegetables.
roasted her vegetables. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Midlight Crisis, a real podcast hosted by three grown-up biologists revisiting books from our teens, and it's totally cool. I am one of your hosts, Sophie, and I have a randomly generated fantasy name today.
What was that sound?
That was me remembering what the name was. My name today is Lorpo Skullgiver.
Oh, that is a good one.
Yeah, I really like Lorpo.
I like
What's
Lorpo
your first
too.
name again? Lorpo?
Lorpo.
Yeah.
Lorpo.
There's a lot of
Skullgiver.
dissonance. Like Lorpo sounds kind of like goofy and fun, and Skullgiver is alarming.
It's just like a real fantasy name.
Yeah.
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 That's me. What about you guys?
My name's Sam, but in Fantasyland, I am now known as Cutrix Fire Diver.
Whoa.
Oh.
Fire diver.
Fire diver.
Fire Diver!
That's a circus thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of that, like, you know that story that goes around every once in a while where they're like, sharks, volcano sharks. Because there's
Yes.
like that deep sea zone where they found
Yes.
sharks living in very hot water or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
That's you. You're a fire diver with the lava sharks.
Fire Diver with the lava sharks.
So if you have a shark boy and lava girl, and then you have a lava shark, do you then have a girl boy?
Girl boy.
Girl boy and lava shark.
And lava
You
shark.
took my joke. Yep.
Yep.
Honestly, that sounds equally as good.
Yeah.
I would
take
watch
it.
that.
I would too.
I feel like there was a Tumblr post with that, wasn't there?
Probably. Nothing I say is that original.
That's probably why all of us thought of it.
Uh-huh. Anyway, I'm here. My name is Hannah. But for the purposes of today's podcast, you can call me by my randomly generated fantasy name, which is Jeeve Rockman.
Jeeve.
Hello, it's me, Jeeve Rockman.
Singular
Jeeve
Jeeve.
Rock-
Just
You
one
sound
Jeeve.
like-
Do you require anything from me, Jeeve Rockman?
You
Oh,
sound
wow.
like a character that would be in Taylor J. Jenk's Rich People multiverse that she's like created.
Taylor Jenkins Reid.
Yeah, did I say that wrong?
So wrong.
What did I say? Oh my god.
I was like, who is she talking about?
Taylor J.
I-
Jenkins? What?
Oh my god. Anyways, that just
Yes.
goes to show you how my last 2 days have gone. Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Reid Jenkins?
Jenkins Reid.
Jenkins
Jenkins
Reid.
Reid.
She has a plural name, unlike Hannah, who's a singular Jeeve.
A
Today.
singular
I am a single Jeeve.
One Jeeve.
I occasionally work for a very rich, renowned asshole McRiva.
Yeah, see?
Uh-huh. Yep, I buttle for
works.
him.
You
It
buttle?
works.
I buttle. I'm the butler.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's buttle.
And
I don't know what you're talking about. Let's move on.
yeah,
Yes.
yes.
How about we talk about the 2 chapters of Eragon we read this week, which are chapter 43 and 44.
Fun. Well, chapter 43 is called Water from... Oh my god, my notes say water from sad. It's supposed to be water from sand.
Those are called tears.
Yeah, but I thought that was funny given my onion situation earlier and I was crying uncontrollably. So I guess that's where my head was at when I wrote this. Anyways, the chapter is called Water from Sand. And I know I joke about how literal these chapter titles are, but this time, like, we are just as literal. In Water from Sand, Murtagh and Eragon decide they need to leave the Empire for refuge, and their only option is to cross the Hadaric Desert. Hopefully I said that right.
Haderach?
Which
Haderach.
Hadarac.
Good try.
I'm hopeless at this point. This
You
journey
have a
would
book
take...
with a pronunciation guide, Sam.
Man, I didn't read it.
The book or the pronunciation guide?
The pronunciation guide.
Okay.
It's more fun when I make it up. Anyways, so this journey would take about 1 to 2 months, and is a very difficult task. Though they have enough rations to make the crossing, there's no possible way to carry that much water needed for 3 humans, 2 horses, and a dragon. And frankly, I don't know how there would be enough room for the food that Saphira and the horses need either, but hey. To address this problem, Eragon then attempts to turn our sand or dirt into water, which he does accomplish, but it completely exhausts him. But then he remembers that groundwater exists and decides to just pull the water up from the ground instead of altering matter, which actually worked.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
right.
now they have a way to make water from sand and attempt to make the crossing they shall, but not before Eragon falls asleep while staring at his elf lady love.
Oh my god.
Wow. I do have one correction to make to your summary.
Uh-oh.
It's well, you said there are 3 humans, 2 horses, a dragon. Actually, there are 2 humans, 1 elf.
Oh, 1 elf. That's,
2
yeah.
horses and a dragon.
And
It's
a
super
bird
different.
in a pear
I
tree.
mean, elves actually could go longer without food and water. We don't know. So
That's true, yeah, in like 3
it's a
days.
fair correction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if you think about it, it's 1 human, 1 dragon rider, 1 elf, 2 horses, and 1 dragon.
Oh, Jesus
Right.
Christ, guys. This is
No.
why I just said humans.
No, 1 human, 1 dragon, 1 elf, 1 perfect, incredible horse named Snowfire, 1 regular horse.
Who throws
And
a
a dragon.
tantrum?
Okay.
Anyway, what's
I'm
in the
moving
second
on.
chapter?
Yeah, the second chapter is called the Ramr River.
Yep.
I lost confidence in myself halfway through that word.
Really audibly lost confidence.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Anyway, when our intrepid companions wake the next morning, they puzzle over how to carry the unconscious elf so that she doesn't get saddle sores, and their inexplicable solution is to tie her to Saphira's belly.
Mhm.
Then they carry on southeast, avoiding towns and villages as they go until they reach the Ramr River, 3 days after their escape from Gilead. The river is far too deep and fast to try to cross, so Saphira offers to carry them all one by one, including the horses, across the river. Myrte goes first and Eragon goes last, and once they're safely across, they continue on until later that day they finally reach the edge of the Hatterack Desert.
Wow.
Wow.
Amazing.
Exciting.
Yeah, I was not as high on these chapters as I was the last one, but there was still some good stuff.
There is some wild stuff that happened.
Yeah.
Some like
Yeah.
really just wild things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my first note is so Eragon references that part of the reason they need to run is because there's soldiers chasing them all over the place, like soldiers at every town and chasing them out of Gilead, but also that they might be caught by the Rizak's flying steeds.
Yeah.
Do we know what those are?
No.
Have we heard of these
No.
before?
We have heard of them, but nothing beyond the fact that they're like terrible flying beasts or something.
Okay. I
They're
was
like anti-dragons.
oh, okay.
I don't know.
So there's some sort of
Anti-dragons.
anti-dragons. So
Okay,
they're
well, we don't need to keep saying that. It's fine.
still reptiles. Anyway, I guess I'm guessing they'll probably be chased by down them at some point.
Yeah, by
Jeez.
down them.
Down by them. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, I was just like, was this just thrown out? I couldn't remember if we'd heard about them before, and I was like, what
Yeah,
the
no,
hell?
they've been mentioned a couple times,
Okay.
notably while they were in Hellgrind.
Oh yeah, because their flying things could take them up to the top.
Yes, sorry, while they were in the city that's near Hellgrind, and I can't remember what the city is called.
I almost said Dazar Allure, but
Is it-
that's a World
What?
of Warcraft town.
Oh, but it's Drasleona, you're right.
Drasleona.
Oh,
Yeah.
Drasleona.
Wow, we got there.
Yeah, I was close.
Yeah, you were surprisingly close,
Really
considering
close.
that sounded like absolute nonsense to me.
Yeah, I mean it is.
Someone who isn't a nerd like you.
Well,
I'm a nerd in different ways.
yeah.
I really like the very sincere and incredibly awkward little moment that Murtagh and Eragon have, where they're like, oh, we can't possibly keep up this pace. And Eragon's like, well, if it was just us, me and Saphira, then it would be fine. And Murtagh says, like, okay, well, you can just leave, and you don't need to bring me with you. And Eragon immediately feels bad and says, don't insult me. And says that, like, the only reason he's free is because of Murtagh, and it would be uncharitable of him to, like, leave him behind now, and they're good friends and all that. And Murtagh has, like, a little moment of being like, oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. I do want to, the way you described it made it sound like Eragon said, if it was just me and Saphira, this wouldn't be a problem. But Eragon
Right.
says, if it was just me and you, as in Murtagh, then Saphira could fly the two of us out.
True.
So he's not just being like, F you, Murtagh, and then being like, well, no, I'm not going to leave you behind.
That's true. He wants to leave Murtagh's horse, who is the
Yeah.
most
Yes.
important person in Murtagh's life, but Eragon's like, your fucking horse.
Yeah. But also the elf's there, so not
But
even
also the elf's
an
there.
option.
Yeah. No. Saphira can't possibly carry 3 people, but she can carry 2.
Yeah. So then, yeah, they're like, well, I guess we got to run away to the desert.
Yep.
It's the only option.
Yeah, they kind of like waffle through the other possible directions. They don't really want to go north or west because the Empire is there. They don't really want to go south because it's too far to get to Serta. And they're like, well, if we go past the desert, nobody knows what's over there. It's a blank spot on the map, but the Varden might be over there somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, super nitpicky, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
The way that they talk about this map. Yeah, so they pull out the map to be like, gosh, where could we go? They're like, oh, we could go across the desert to whatever's over there. There's no way the Empire could be in control over there. And Murtagh's like, all the land beyond the desert, which is blank on this map, was under one rule when the riders lived. And it's just like, okay, I get it. You're trying to help me picture this map.
Uh-huh.
Like,
No, this is totally natural dialogue. I don't know what you're concerned about.
yeah, you're right. I don't know what I was thinking.
Jeez. It's interesting that, similar to what we've mentioned in previous episodes, that the Empire hasn't really scrubbed anything about, like, how bad Galbatorix is, or even, like, a lot of the stuff about the riders. It's still kind of out there. Like, it's a little
Yeah.
bit secretive, but everybody seems to know it. Except, the riders did rule over whatever land is east of the Hatterack Desert at one point,
Yeah.
before Galbatorix rose to power, but now it's not on any of the maps. So the thing that Galbatorix has, like, removed from the cultural consciousness is east?
Yeah, anything east of the desert.
I don't know. I just, like, are there not surviving maps?
Yeah,
Like, there's
or like,
surviving people. There's
yeah.
well, I mean, there was a surviving Braum.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like,
Confused.
Braum was alive before the rise of Galbatorix, therefore he was alive when the riders had, like, dominion or whatever over the whole area, including whatever is east of the desert.
Right.
And presumably, during the time when, like, the riders had this, like, huge country under their control, there were maps of whatever is to the east. But now they're just all gone? Like, it's been, like, 100 years.
Yeah, and it's weird that there weren't, like, if it was all one cohesive thing, then, like, are there not trade routes
Yeah.
around the
Or-
desert or through the desert?
Yeah.
If Galbatorix, if that wasn't in his, like, reign, wouldn't he have, like, worked to have destroyed all of them? Like, that's a pretty common trope that
Yeah.
like, the big bad evil destroys anything that, like, has evidence of a world outside of their domain, you know?
Yeah, but,
Yeah,
like,
but I guess Serta still exists.
yeah, like, that counters what we've seen him do so far. Like, he hasn't done that. They all still know about Serta, like, they don't really know what's across the sea, but, like, they know about Du Weldenvarden, which I don't think is part of the Empire either. That's the forest to the north.
True.
Right.
Well, the surrounding stuff, like the desert and the forest and the mountains, but, like, beyond that, because I looked at the map when I was reading it, and there's, like, a bunch of, like, cities and stuff on the other side of the desert, which is where they're trying to go, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, maybe the maps go to, like, the edge, like it says like, oh, there's this forest, there's this desert, and there's whatever, but past that, like there's no cities? Or am I missing something? I might be missing something.
Well, Murtagh says that the map is blank beyond the desert.
Yeah.
It could just be like their map. Whoever they got this map from originally just didn't have that knowledge.
And it could just be like Galbatorix's propaganda, right? Like, oh, there's nothing beyond the desert. Like, why would you even consider crossing the desert? There's nothing there, kind of thing. You know what
like
I mean?
It could be that because they theorized that it's like Galbatorix couldn't control things that far away, and so it would only be if he had like the manpower of the original riders on dragons that he could then take it over again. So it could just be a case of like, as his power over it slipped, they sort of like quote unquote rebelled, like refused his reign, I guess, and he was just like, ah, fuck him then.
And it would be like in his best interest to kind of like eliminate any kind of knowledge of those places, because then it doesn't give anyone in his current kingdom hope that there's somewhere beyond that would help them rebel, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, again, they know about Serta, and Serta like is an open defiance of the Empire. That's their whole thing.
Right, but like it does sort of make sense if you think about that. Like people can just go to Serta, you know?
Like crossing the desert,
can't really cross the desert.
It is a very good natural border.
If he just like cut any pre-existing infrastructure that let people cross the desert, then it would just be like, and now I have the equivalent of an ocean to keep my people here.
Exactly. Yeah, and so then he hides any knowledge of anything being beyond there. So one, people wouldn't even think of making the crossing because it's so dangerous. But two, gives them no hope that there's anyone out there to help them from that side.
Yeah, or even just like probably the loss of the trade routes means that people like stop knowing stuff about what's on the other side.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't even have to like do anything. He
exactly.
Could just be like, cool.
Yeah.
And even if we're assuming this, like, that there were trade routes that have fallen apart, that would also lead to migration of people away from the desert, right?
Yeah.
Because presumably those people would be sustained by traffic on the trade routes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Highway towns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm curious to see what's going to be over there.
Yeah.
Me too.
I assume Murtagh and Eragon are going to succeed in crossing the desert.
No, I think they'll die in the middle of it. Didn't you hear about all the horrible things that are in the desert?
Oh, that's true. It's filled with poisonous and inedible plants, venomous snakes, scorpions, and blistering sun.
I feel like Jesus. Poisonous and inedible.
Like, I know.
Kind of don't need
to.
No, but I appreciate Murtagh in one sentence being one of few people who get the correct poisonous and venomous definitions.
True.
Which are?
If you eat it, it's poisonous. Sorry. If you eat it and get sick or die, then it's poisonous. If it bites you and you get sick or die, then it's venomous.
I like how the snakes are explicitly venomous and the scorpions you just have to assume.
No, the scorpions are just bad to look at.
That's true.
Murtagh's like, they're not dangerous. I just don't like looking at them.
So they're Taylor Swift scorpions.
Taylor Swift scorpions?
Taylor Swift scorpions, yeah. I find those things incredibly unsettling to look at. I do not like them at all, but they're completely harmless.
No, it's not. No, sorry. This goes back to a time where one of us misheard the other one saying tailless whip scorpion. Say Taylor Swift scorpion?
It was me walking into the kitchen at the aquarium we all used to work at, hearing Taylor Swift scorpion and being like, what? What is this?
Guys.
Yeah, I do not like them. I don't have a good reason to not like them, I just find them very unsettling.
I don't like them either, because they're in that franchise that we don't talk about, and I didn't like them in that.
What?
They're Harry Potter.
Are they in Fantastic Beasts?
No, they're in the fourth one. Mad-Eye Moody uses them to, like, show the 3 unforgivable curses.
Okay, Sorry to derail for a second. I'm also Google imaging it, and I just realized that I did type in Taylor Swift scorpion. And it did give me Taylor Swift scorpion, so I'm not the only one.
Okay, great. You're not the only one, yeah.
And they are what's featured in the Goblet of Fire. It's
Okay.
Those
yeah,
poor
I was
guys.
right.
Why would he do that?
Yeah, I don't like looking at them very much. It's not their fault, though.
Yeah, I think they're adorable. They just got big,
You
long
would.
arms.
He would.
Just-
Yeah, that's very on brand.
Yeah,
So, yeah, venomous snakes and Taylor Swift scorpions.
yeah. Wait.
Uh-huh. What's concerning you?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, so the gist of this is that, like, Eragon doesn't know very much about the desert, Murtagh knows slightly more, and it is extremely concerned that they're going to die of thirst trying to cross this desert.
I mean, fair.
Yeah.
They talk about how there's a blistering sun, the desert, is hot. And it's like, I hope you guys know that also at night it's freezing cold.
Super, super
'Cause
cold.
Otherwise, you're not going to be ready for this.
It's fine. I bet this desert is hot all the time.
I bet this desert is hot all the time, yeah.
I bet you $5.
Whoa!
Oh, no.
I don't take that bet.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair.
That's a good choice, probably.
Yeah. And then Eragon does his fun experiments to learn how to get water for the desert.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Yeah, I thought this was a fun scene because Eragon starts off by being like an absolute dummy, but also kind of probably doing what I would do given the way I conceptualize things on this podcast. I like immediately go to the most complicated possible solution.
Yeah.
And of course, Eragon, rather than his first thought being like, oh, water comes from wells in the ground, I'll try to reach for water in the ground. He's like, I'm gonna turn dirt into water. I bet I can do that. It's like, that's stupid. I would also do that.
I probably
like
also do that.
Bold assumption to be like, dirt and sand, they're the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this definitely would make water.
Yeah.
I mean, dirt, like, at least would have more moisture in it already than sand.
Because I certainly didn't understand what you said last time, where you were talking about how there's a chemical reason in the makeup of sand that you can't get water out of it.
Yeah, it's fine.
But imagine if Eragon had, like, legit seceded. He left.
Ooh.
No, succeeded.
He went to Serta.
He went to Serta. No, imagine if Eragon had, like, legit succeeded with turning dirt to water, and then he gets to the desert and he's like, oh, fuck, sand isn't
like,
the same as dirt.
Yeah.
No.
Idiot.
Uh-huh.
He also asks Saphira if she can carry enough water for them for a month.
Oh my god, what an idiot.
Absolutely wild.
Like, for horses, 2 horses and a dragon? Hey, Saphira.
Yeah. Like,
that's no problem.
Forgetting
right?
the human, the dragon rider, and the elf, like, just Saphira, or just the horses by themselves would, like, that's it.
Yeah. I also don't know why, like, they say part of the reason they need to figure out a way to create water, I guess, is because people who live in the desert hide their water sources so that people don't steal from them, which, like, makes sense, but also, like, do they hide them from dragons? Like, from the air?
Yeah, from above.
Because I feel like Saphira could find them.
I feel like with a well, it would be easy enough, like, just put a sand-colored cloth over it and, like, bam, your well is hidden. But he also says that they hide their oases. How do you hide an oasis?
Like,
Magic.
I assume if you cut down the trees and stuff, like, people would have to know where it was to get to it. Like, if it was in, like, a little dune valley or whatever. I don't know how deserts work.
Me neither.
But if there were sand dunes around it, I assume that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Eragon almost kills himself turning dirt to water.
Yeah.
What a ding dong.
Yeah. He's like,
I mean, props to him for realizing that this might be stupid and only trying to do a tiny bit of dirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, this book would end extremely abruptly.
It would have ended right here.
Imagine Murtagh
Embarrassing.
coming back from whatever probably extremely useful and practical thing he's doing,
Yeah.
and he finds Eragon has just shriveled up and turned into a husk because he tried to turn dirt into water.
Yeah. At least only Saphira would know what he was doing.
Yeah.
Do we know what he says? Because he says Deloy. I
Oh,
mean, I
yeah.
want to say moi because it's French.
Oh, I read it as Delois moi.
Ah,
Which I-
Deloy moi.
Delois moi, which is even worse.
Deloy moi, yeah.
It means earth change.
Oh god, he doesn't even say to what.
Oh.
No, he has to use the power of his will for that. I'm
Fire.
surprised he didn't try Brissinger yet.
Yeah, it's like just turned to fire.
Yeah, maybe if he'd tried Brissinger.
Well, because he already had earth and he had air, so if he puts some fire on it, then he'll get water.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone agrees.
That's how the 4 elements work.
Yeah, fire, water, earth, air.
Yeah,
And then the Fire Nation attacked.
Galbatorix.
Yeah, anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it works. Like, he does it.
Yeah,
It does.
which is crazy.
It does nearly kill him, though.
Yeah.
This is not a viable solution.
Yeah, I just feel it makes me feel better because Aragon's been like, pretty reasonable and smarter and not being just generally kind of a teen. And then he does do this without checking with Saphira first.
He doesn't check in with Saphira, he doesn't check in with Murtagh, who, again, has shown himself to be extremely practical.
Yeah. He does this, and then after he nearly dies, Saphira's like, wait, what's going on?
What did he just do? Well, and then Eragon's solution is, hey, Saphira, you try.
Yeah, you do it. Although that was fun, because we learned a fun thing about Saphira's magic, which is that she can't control it.
Yeah.
It's all vibes.
It's all vibes.
It's all vibes.
Which
all vibes
is very interesting. The way she says it, she says,
yeah.
I have no more control over my abilities than a spider does.
Dude,
yeah, that was funny.
Like, wandering around on a plant, and then they're like, holy shit, I've been moved to suddenly appear a web. Like,
I feel like spiders are pretty intentional as far as like invertebrates go.
Of all the animals, I would say spiders explicitly have to like use their spinnerets, grab the spider web, and then make a thing for several hours.
Yeah, they have to be, I mean, I'm anthropomorphizing hard, but like they have to be disciplined to be a spider.
Yeah.
And like I guess it's all instinct, but that doesn't mean they have no control over it.
Yeah, especially because like it's not like Saphira was like, doing something that would have evolved as an instinct. Like it's not like she went and hunted and then was like, wow, I can't control myself. It just happened. It's like a spider is building a web because that's what it has evolved to do. Saphira hasn't evolved to just turn sandstone into diamond. That's not her whole
Why
thing.
Not?
It's like, I mean, that actually sounds pretty dope, but
yeah, it's like that has an advantage
it is
in being valuable.
Yes.
In a capitalist society.
Sure. Dragons, notoriously capitalist.
Yes.
I mean, it does make sense. How else do they get those giant hoards? They gotta be able to make diamonds and gemstones and all of those
then they
things.
Explicitly don't have to collect hoards.
They have to collect rocks to turn into diamonds. They have to collect maybe different rocks turn into different gemstones. So like sandstone turns into diamond and like granite turns into garnet. I don't know.
Sure. It's right in the name.
Yep. Pyrite. You can turn it into real gold.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Damn.
Anyway,
surprising.
Yeah. It's a little weird that Saphira has no control over her magic.
Yeah.
Very odd.
I would buy that she like doesn't know how to control it, because like who's gonna teach her how to be a dragon?
Yeah.
True.
She explicitly says at the end of that little speech, she's like, the rest of the time, like right now, I'm as powerless as Snowfire. Which, like, again,
Snowfire's powerful as hell then, I
yeah.
guess.
Snowfire is super magical. I guess it means that she's not using magic to, like, sustain herself. Or maybe she
true.
is. Maybe it means that all her power goes to, like, making her giant dragon body function.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'd buy that.
And then it's only sometimes that it can be, like, channeled into something else.
Yeah. So, like, blowing? Like, you breathe without thinking about it, but if you focus and divert your breath, you can, like, blow out a candle?
Yeah, or, like, I guess it could sort of make sense if, like, you think about the way Eragon uses magic. It's just his will through the form of the ancient language, but it doesn't necessarily matter, right? Like, he just needs a way to mentally focus it, I guess, by using these words. And so maybe dragons don't even need that, but it does just have to be, like, in a moment of emotion or something.
I feel like that's the most plausible explanation we've come up with. Yeah.
I think that must be it. And otherwise she just doesn't have, if she doesn't feeling strongly enough about something, then nothing happens, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
It's too energetically expensive to just go blowing magic on around everywhere.
But
yeah.
But, like, wouldn't it, if you had control of your magic, isn't that more energetically efficient? Because then you're controlling when you're using that energy?
But I mean, like, it's probably expensive to channel it and use it, and, like, divert it from whatever bodily functions it usually
Then
runs?
to just, like, have it in there and come in random bursts without being able to control? Like, what if...
Well, you gotta store it like electricity.
Yep.
Or, like, nuclear...
Oh, yeah, the nuclear reactor.
I don't know enough about nuclear to try to make this into a joke, but there's something in there for sure.
Yeah, she's like a big battery. A nuclear battery.
A nuclear battery. That flies...
That's where her bones are.
Right.
That's why they're so heavy and dense.
Her bones are carbon fiber. Remember?
Yes, I do remember.
They are hollow, but they're filled with batteries.
They're filled with batteries.
That's why they're so heavy.
That's why they're so heavy.
Magic batteries.
So, like, the magicking that they did to turn themselves into fighting machines was like, look at all of these hollow bones that are for flying. This looks like such a good space for activities.
For a battery.
Just filled it with uranium.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They would fill it with hydrogen, and then it's the hydrogen's bonding to make helium, because then it's lighter, because uranium is heavy.
Yeah.
So you have fusion instead of fission.
Damn.
Right.
Yeah.
They're fusion reactors.
Yeah.
Even better. Far more parsimonious.
That would make more sense from a weight perspective, because hydrogen atoms are lighter. I mean, it could be fission too, but uranium is a heavy,
very heavy
metal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Eragon would die after 15 minutes being on her back.
No.
It wouldn't.
He's got that weird elf powers now.
That's what the glowy hand is. It's actually
it's just the radiation.
That's
why he, like, his ribs healed so quickly. They just, like, mutated. And mutated like a science fiction movie, not mutated like in real life.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah, we learned another fun thing about Sphera in this chapter, and it's in, like, the second sentence of the chapter, so I'm just going back. But it's just a fun thing where Eragon mentions that Saphira has very rough scales.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Well, didn't we already kind of know that? Because they rubbed all of the skin off of his legs in, like, 2 hours?
But, like, you can get sores from, like, leather. So
that's what's happening to the elf, apparently, which we'll get to.
But I just mean, I think it can happen on smooth surfaces also.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have some, like, intense chub rub going on because I went for a walk in too short shorts the other day, so
No,
The
that's
worst.
it happened.
I hate that.
My skin is smoother than Scales for sure, but it still fucked itself up.
That sucks.
Listen, I feel like this is a good lesson for us because biology doesn't make sense a lot of the time.
No.
Yeah.
As we all know, because we're all 30 or almost 30 and our bodies are tearing themselves to pieces for no reason.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I went for a walk 2 days ago and my back hurts. You know how it is.
Yeah, it's like I went for a run a year and a half ago and my hip hurts from it still.
Yeah. But
Sam
about
fell
these
off her
scales.
treadmill.
And Sam fell off her treadmill.
I'm fine.
It's fine. Right, yeah, sorry. Scales.
The
Scales.
scales. So, like, the only weird thing about it is that Saphira has, like, explicitly been described as, like, gleaming and glowing and
That's true.
shiny.
Yeah.
And by definition, rough scales on reptiles usually are used for, like, crypsis, like to hide, because it makes them more matte looking.
Oh.
Yeah.
And not as easily spotted because it like turns their scales from these like shiny kind of reflective surfaces to like duller.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird.
That is weird. I was kind of thinking of it more as if they were dermal denticles.
That's how I was thinking of it too.
Yeah, which is what shark skin is. And basically it's smooth in one direction to reduce drag, but
Yeah.
extremely rough in the other direction. So that's... I think I was just upscaling that.
I mean, that would make, I guess, some sense. I mean, most snake scales and lizard scales are, when they're overlapping, you know, are basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know anything about that.
But sharks are also not reflective and shiny.
It's true. They are if they're
So
wet.
Aren't there like some lizard?
right, but it depends on the type of scale. So like there are
Okay.
there are snakes and lizards that
Like
have like
skinks?
smooth scales.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially ones that are like living in the earth, like that need to
Oh,
burrow or like
But
things
then,
like
yeah.
that.
What about the ones that fly? The flying lizards?
So pterosaurs have fur.
No, the extant ones. The extant flying lizards?
So the gliding dracovolans.
No, the flying ones?
Yeah, that one.
Wait, is there actually a gliding lizard?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's
That's
also a gliding frog.
I didn't know
I
that
didn't know
either.
that.
What?
Yeah, it has giant hands and feet, and the webbing between the hands and feet is like
Oh my god, I love
big.
this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gliding frog.
Now that I see it, I
Oh.
feel like I've seen this in an Animal Planet
My God.
show or
Yeah.
something.
I think it was in one of the recent Planet Earths.
Yeah.
Because
I
there was
love
like a
this
gliding
frog.
snake.
I can hear I can hear classical music over the image of this
Yeah.
frog.
Because I think it was the episode that had a gliding snake.
There's a gliding snake?
Okay,
There's a
anyway,
gliding
we're getting
snake.
off topic again.
Anyway.
I know nothing.
We've yes, we never go off topic.
No. Not once.
Anyway, it's just weird that she would have rough scales and still be glinting and glowing in the sunlight.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
Maybe her scales are made of diamond.
maybe her scales are made of diamond. That's her one power. But one of the types of quote unquote rough scales is like a keeled scale, which just has like a keel.
Uh-huh.
You know, like a raised ridge running down the middle, which I guess would still be pretty aerodynamic.
Yeah,
But-
probably.
But largely otherwise, I'd expect her to have smooth scales for
Yeah.
the aforementioned aerodynamics.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like both the book and I think the movie version portray her as having very snaky, like
Yeah.
desert snaky scales, the rough ones.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
I
just
don't
a
think I know
fun
enough about this.
thing we learned. Because also you don't want like if you think about if he was saying rough, like when you think about overlapping scales where the like overlap happens and the one on top maybe sticks out a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
because it's on top of the next scale, Like, even that you wouldn't really want, because that
No.
would ruin your laminar flow. Like,
Yeah.
when you're flying, like, it would create just a tiny, minuscule eddy that, like, you don't want.
Yeah.
Unless maybe you do. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe you do. I know almost nothing about aerodynamics, but if you look at the Formula 1 cars, they're very aerodynamic driven, and they all have weird little, like, boops and bobs all over them for
Mhm.
the aerodynamics to, like, create eddies in specific places.
Okay.
So maybe she does want some weird eddies in specific places.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, we all know the most perfect body is a tuna. So
True.
really,
Yes.
she should look like a
She
tuna
should look like
with
that.
wings. Yeah.
Oh, that's the best. That's the best.
If you think about it.
We need to hire an artist ASAP.
Don't worry, I'll Photoshop it.
Please do. Anyway, wow, yeah.
Yeah, that was my very brief aside that we only took about as much time as I thought we would.
It's not at all brief.
Not at all brief.
No.
But maybe Saphira's rough scales are part of the reason why the elf is getting saddle sores
Yeah. I don't.
through the saddle.
Yeah.
Is there even a saddle? I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, she's strapped into the saddle because she wouldn't stay on Saphira's back otherwise.
Then wouldn't the saddle protect her? So she's just getting saddle sores, not
She's getting
scale
saddle sores, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But maybe, like, the saddle's, like, shifting a lot on top of her scale. I was trying to do a segue, okay?
No, sorry.
No, this part just annoyed me because I was like, what? Yeah. Anyways, but the solution is even funnier. So
Yeah, like,
let's just go ahead.
by the fact that she might be getting sores from being tied into the saddle for 3 days and unable to, like, brace herself or anything, and is just, like, flopping around up there. But the solution?
The solution is just like
Is
a
wild.
game changer. Absolutely
It's so
wild.
dumb.
It is so dumb.
It's Saphira's idea, and they're like, wow, this is genius, because Eragon and Murtig can't come up with a solution. And Saphira is like, well, we should tie her to my belly. And they're like,
that's safe.
fantastic idea.
Great.
Yeah, so they tie her back first against Saphira's belly with her head between Saphira's front legs. Which,
Wrapped in a blanket.
wrapped in a blanket. I guess so Saphira's scales won't rub through her skin.
Yeah.
But then just like the way they tied her with like old clothes or stuff, right? Like so it's just like a string of clothes that's tying her, and I'm just like, this will not work.
Also,
Why?
like, you're going against gravity. Just tie her onto Saphira's back lying down.
Yeah.
Like, tie her lying down on her back on the saddle.
Or even
Because
like,
then if she slips, gravity will catch her.
Exactly.
As opposed to her just plummeting immediately.
Right?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
also,
because like, also they say, oh, well, Saphira can't carry her in her claws because it'll make landing dangerous. And it's like, having her on her belly makes landing dangerous.
Right?
Yeah.
What if Saphira lands and crushes her?
Yeah, what if Saphira, like, lands hard and has to, like, absorb with her elbows or whatever and smashes her belly into the ground?
Literally, this like the stupidest thing they could have come up with. Like,
Yep.
how did any of them think this was a good idea? And if I were her and found out that my future love interest did that to me, I'm out. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, you're a fucking idiot.
The thing that makes this almost more offensive is that there is not a scene of the elf waking up whilst in this position.
Exactly. She doesn't even know how stupid they were.
I mean, there's still time.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I guess it could happen, but, like, that's the only way in which I will accept this as, like, a reasonable thing to do is if you then get a hilarious scene of the elf
her,
coming
like,
to consciousness,
screaming
like,
in midair.
Yeah.
staring at the ground from, like, 300 feet up.
Yeah.
Oh my
Like,
God.
I almost would have preferred it if they'd made, like, a sling, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because they clearly have blankets or whatever. Like, make a sling that isn't as long, like, that doesn't hang as far down as Saphira's, like, legs, you know? So she can land. But don't have her, like, pressed right up against Saphira's belly.
Yeah. Have her in, like, a hammock.
Yeah,
Again,
exactly.
so gravity is working with her and not against her.
Yeah. I don't know, it's
Just
weird.
Wild.
It is weird.
Yeah, because especially they're like, we're worried about Saphira's scales, and then it's like, so you strap her to a different part of Saphira's scale?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they even make the point like, well, her scales might rub through all of these ropes. That could be
Yeah.
dangerous. And like, again, that's not us saying that. That's Eragon and Murtig saying that, and they
Yeah.
still think that this is a good idea.
Yeah. It's fine.
I'm so baffled.
Yeah,
by this
it's a
decision.
mystery. I hope the next chapter has the elf waking up in midair and being like, the fuck?
Yeah.
I really, really hope so.
Just like immediately disapparating or whatever elves do.
Whatever elves do. Turn into a bird.
I need these dummies to be told off that they're dummies and to realize that this was the stupidest thing they could have done. That is all.
Again, it is very like 3 teenagers coming up with a solution.
Oh, yeah. Just absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's an unusual choice to say the least.
A good time.
The elf spends the whole day there.
Yep.
As
all day.
They travel 16 leagues in the course of the day. Yeah, it's 77 kilometers. Which I actually looked it up. Apparently, like, an average horse is fine to do, like, 80 kilometers per day. So this is actually totally reasonable as far as horses go.
You forgot the part where they run, though.
Yeah.
On foot.
Yeah.
The rest of the horses?
Yeah, Eragon and Murtig run to give the horses a rest.
Classic.
I guess that's... I mean, literally the only thing I know about horses is what I've read in books. And so I have read in books that it is more restful for a horse to not have someone on his back, but still be walking.
I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, I believe that.
Yeah.
But still. Yeah.
Yeah, the image of them running and each like
being like
with the horse led behind them or whatever.
Yeah.
The horse being like, I'm confused.
Uh-huh.
Like, when would a horse be led by someone who's running? like
at medieval times.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh,
okay, at medieval times.
At medieval times.
I did
stand
just
corrected.
That. Only a few days ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess horses are herd animals, right? It's probably totally fine with them to follow someone who is running.
I mean, like a human run is like a trot or like a walk for a horse.
Still, I assume that herd animals like to follow a leader, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Snowfire and Tornak are extremely special, so they are probably with it.
They
both
know what's
leaders. Oh god. They have 2 stallions.
They have 2 alpha males.
Do they have 2 stallions? They might.
They might.
They might. Won't they start fighting?
Yeah, I don't know anything about horses.
I don't know
feel
enough
like
about horses.
Maybe one of them's gelded or gelded.
I think gelded. I
gelded.
mean, Snowfire certainly can't be gelded.
Certainly not.
Fantastic and perfect and special.
Yeah.
And Murtig is far too badass to have a gelding, I guess.
Who knows?
I don't know enough about horses.
No, I do know from horse Twitter that, or not horse Twitter, I learned from horse TikTok that mares are terrible and geldings are like sweet and lovely boys.
Aww.
And mares are just cranky all the time, which I relate to.
I think that's the mood.
Yeah, so maybe that's why Snowfire is so special, is because he's a gelding and it's just like so lovely and fun.
That'd be good. I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
An important thing to note about the horses is that they have to jump the river with Saphira ferrying them all one by one across. Because it's half a mile wide, way too deep. They can't get across. And so Saphira essentially just has to like lift the horses while they're freaking out over to the other side. But she like really struggles. So we know that a dragon's natural prey is smaller than a horse.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
But also...
Or they just kill things and then eat them on the ground?
Yes.
No, I don't think that's a good
they
solution.
might, but like maybe they're opportunistic scavengers, but
True.
Okay,
Who
but
isn't, really?
if Saphira is actually the size that Hannah mathed out, would she actually struggle carrying a horse, is my question. And I was tempted to math this. This is the closest I've ever gotten to doing math without being paid. Because we said her wingspan was something ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
like,
same as a
Boeing
747.
this thing is a Boeing. So I'm like, she shouldn't struggle to carry a horse, right?
She must be like a restaurant. Let me explain.
Okay. I cannot wait.
A restaurant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently restaurants operate on like paper thin margins. So if there's any like disruption or reduction in their revenue, then they like go under super fast. And maybe Saphira is operating naturally on like the absolute limit of her lifting capabilities because she's a giant fucking dragon full of uranium.
No hydrogen.
I said this in the last episode without talking about restaurants.
What's your point? I'm just trying to make it interesting for the listeners.
Sure. Yeah, okay, right. Yeah, sorry.
But yeah,
Of
she's
course.
probably operating at the very edge of her capabilities already because she's so big.
I get that, but still, in the great scheme of things, I feel like a horse is like negligible compared to her. You know
but
what I
she
mean?
couldn't even lift 3 humans easily.
That's true.
Sorry, 2 humans and an elf.
Oh, yeah, see?
She couldn't even lift 3
Yeah.
human-shaped
Humanoids.
humanoids in the last 2 chapters. So
yeah, she was injured
okay.
at that time, but still.
yeah, I do think that not to cast aspersions on Hannah's math.
Oh,
My
I
math
do
is
think that
extremely
perhaps
accurate. And
it was
very
a
good.
little off.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think my math is fine. I think
No,
it's
your math
the
is
cover
good.
of the book that's the problem.
No, I think it's the proportions need to be closer to a pterosaur than a
Oh, a Yichi?
Yichi, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then her wingspan would be even bigger, wouldn't it? Oh no, we had this
No, because
conversation
her
last
head
time.
would be gigantic
Yeah.
compared to
Yeah,
her body. Yeah. Anyway,
that's baloney.
so horses are like, depending on what kind of horse, they can be up to like 300 kilograms or 2,000 pounds, like
Okay.
900
Yeah.
to 2,000. So like it means that's the very top end of what she can carry.
Yeah.
Assuming that, again, dragons evolved with the 2 wings and the 2 back legs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've confirmed that she takes off by like leaping with her back legs. Like I think they say it again in this chapter that she like pushes off with her hind legs. So it seems like her hunting methods are similar to those of a bird of prey, where they either hunt in flight, and then if they have to pick something up, they're always carrying it with their feet. They don't carry it with their jaws.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because she has like, you know, a pretty significant like reptilian jaw, which is typically like reptiles are more mouth
Grabby.
hunting. Yeah. Whereas like raptors use their feet and then sometimes use their beaks to like kill but not carry. I don't know. I hope we get to see Saphira hunt at some point.
I hope
I
so.
want
I have
to
a
so
memory
bad.
of her hunting. I just don't remember what book it's in.
Okay.
So we will at some point. Maybe.
Great. I hope it's in the desert. I'd love that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Anyway, that's really all I had. It would be fun if she was like Jaws based hunter, because then it would explain why she has the jaws.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about undifferentiated teeth recently and how dolphins are one of like the few mammals that have undifferentiated teeth.
Yeah.
And dolphins and like toothed whales in general pretty much only use their teeth for holding things. Like they don't chew or rip or whatever often with their teeth. So maybe that's similar for Saphira. I mean, her teeth are like wildly sharp, but maybe she doesn't have like a crazy strong jaw and we're just assuming that because of our preconceived notions of a dragon.
Yeah.
Maybe she has a tiny snake face.
Maybe she has a tiny snake face.
That would be
but
pretty
the
cute,
picture,
actually.
The picture, though. The picture
Or
on the
a
cover,
gigantic
though.
pterosaur head. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't look like a tiny... Oh, I thought you meant what if she looked like a snake? But you mean just a tiny head.
Just a tiny head.
Anyway.
My favorite part of this, well, I enjoyed this whole scene of Saphira having to ferry the horses over the river because it was really funny. But she drops Tornak, Murtag's horse, off and comes back to Eragon and is complaining about how she says Murtag's silly animal is in hysterics.
She's
like so annoyed that the horse is terrified.
As though the horse hadn't been picked up by a giant predator and had good reason to freak out.
Yeah, it's a good, like, moment of Saphira personality, I think.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. She's definitely superior to the stupid horse.
Yeah. She's no mere animal.
No.
I
had a moment where the place they stop before crossing the river is in a stand of juniper trees, and I was like, aha, I'm going to use these trees to kind of like narrow down what kind of geography we're in.
Same thing.
Oh my god.
Because I still think that we're set somewhere in North America. That's what I'm
Sure.
banking on. And I was like, I'm gonna prove it. Turns out juniper trees have an entirely cosmopolitan distribution. They're everywhere in every hemisphere, so this gives us nothing.
Yep, I did the same thing. I was like, I'm just gonna look up where juniper trees are, and then their range distribution was like, F you, they're everywhere.
They're literally everywhere.
Fine.
They're like from the Arctic to the tropics. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Nice job,
Fine.
Grace.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. So that's a dead end, much like the
Alas.
path they took to get to this river.
Yeah. The only other point that I wanted to make note of in this chapter was Eragon, before they strap the elf to her cool new way of riding, Eragon is like, but what's wrong with her? And he tries to like get some water into her by squeezing out like a wet cloth over her sculpted lips, which I hated so much.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
I just wrote yuck in my notes.
Yuck.
Yuck.
And on the wind. Yuck. No, but the description of like her face is just like he dabbed above her straight angled eyebrows, which like
what the
to me just I am imagining like just two very angry eyebrows, like the straight lines. Just this elf is angry. No talk, me angry.
Me angry.
That's the
me
self.
and angry elf. Yeah. Oh my god.
Sculpted lips. I hate it.
I hate it so much. And he like brushes his hand over her brow and it's like, can you fucking not?
I get it.
Yeah, she's hot.
Fine. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah. They do talk a little bit about like she's been unconscious for 3 days. Like should we be concerned? And they try to like speculate as to the cause.
Yeah.
Mostly Murtag actually speculates. He's like, maybe the shade tampered with her mind, or she's in like a self-induced elf coma. Which, again, are very overwrought teenage ideas. Like, let's make this extremely complicated.
I bet she aestivates like a lungfish.
That's probably it.
She's just gonna make a mucus cocoon and then go to sleep in it for a few months.
And then what happens after?
She comes out. Just, way better.
Normal.
Yep. Maybe she's gonna wake up as a vampire.
Yeah, they might have to dig her out from her mud cocoon, depending on how long it takes.
Now?
Is she an urukai?
Yeah.
Were the urukai estivating?
I don't know what estivating means, to be honest.
Estivating, it's like a hibernation.
Oh,
but
no, they were being birthed.
Well, maybe. Were they being birthed, or was Saruman like, "Wow, they're actually just deep in the earth. We have to open their estivation cocoons. They've been down there for years."
Or he
like
put
the cicadas.
Or he put the orcs in estivation and then somehow magicked them to be crossed with human genetics.
Yeah. Yep.
And so they, I guess, maybe were an aestivation.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm still extremely bothered that they are half orc, half human, and are burst in the dirt.
It
They're
is
estivating.
it's a very disturbing scene.
It's stupid.
Anyway, those aren't the books or movies we're talking about.
No.
No, not this time. Or
Do we have
anytime if I have
anything,
anything
or
to do with it.
anytime at all. I feel like a lot of people maybe have talked about them enough.
Yeah, I have
Did
nothing
you
to add to
guys
that conversation.
have anything else to add to this conversation, though?
No.
I just like the fact that when Saphira does walk on the ground, she does it with surprising stealth, and her tail is the only thing that makes a sound when it scrapes over the ground like a thick blue snake.
Oh,
Which is
weird.
Yeah. I was
So
like,
I guess
okay.
she doesn't really have control of her tail?
I guess not.
Or it's really heavy? Weird.
Weird. But also, like, she's really bad at walking on the ground. She has talons. Like, she goes really slowly, but she's so quiet, you guys.
So quiet, though, guys.
She's so sneaky on her maladaptive feet with her her thick blue snake tail.
Yeah. Maybe it's because she walks on her hind legs because she can't walk on the front ones.
Like a
kangaroo. That's why her tail drags.
I believe it. That's why she's so slow too.
That's why she's so tall at the shoulder.
Yeah, she's actually bipedal.
She's walking around on her back legs.
God.
Oh
my god.
Oh my god.
Just walking around like a T-Rex.
That's why they needed to tie the elf to her stomach then.
This makes sense.
So that she would just
Yeah. I know you guys will definitely know this, but you know those old images originally of Iguanodon?
No.
Yeah, of course I do, but pretend I don't for the sake of the listeners.
Well, it's basically what we're describing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I've seen this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's what she's like. Oh.
Yeah.
It's like a reptilian kangaroo.
Yeah.
I was imagining that one episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender near the end where Aang is like so sleep deprived that he starts hallucinating and his six-legged flying bison just like stands like a people.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was imagining.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
The only other super quick last thing. They didn't fall asleep at the end of this chapter.
No, they didn't.
They didn't.
They reached the Hatterack Desert. It is amazing.
We're going into a chapter not waking up. Incredible.
I mean, we can still wake up. He could do a time skip between chapters. Like, don't.
No, I checked.
Sophie. The hell?
Sam ruined it last time, so.
The hell? I'm surrounded by cheaters.
I only read the first sentence last time.
That's all I did, too.
Yeah.
Anyway, while we're talking about the next chapters.
Yeah.
Let's try and guess what happens. The next one will be super hard.
Oh.
The next chapter is called The Hatterack Desert.
No.
Oh, it seems like they might be at the desert.
Yeah. You know how at the end of the chapter, they were like, we're at the desert? Well, it turns out they might be at the desert. Yeah.
Do we think the whole chapter is going to be like the 2-month journey or whatever, or 1-month journey?
Probably.
The whole chapter is certainly going to be in the desert, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And based on the pacing of this book, they probably will be out of the desert by the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of want them to find like some desert people. I feel like that'd be
fun.
Yeah. It would certainly be more interesting if like enough happened in the desert that it took more than one chapter.
Yeah.
I would prefer that.
I feel like there's like some potential here that just is going to go wasted.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
That's the theme of this book.
Yeah. And then the chapter after that is called A Path Revealed.
Through the desert, perhaps?
Or the path through the mountains. Like
to the Varden, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like freaking... I won't do another Lord of the Rings reference. Never mind. Let's continue.
They're very dissimilar. I don't know why you would...
I don't know why my brain keeps going there.
Yeah.
So different.
Yeah, well, great guesses, everyone. Let's talk about what else we're reading.
Yay.
It has been about 45 seconds since we last recorded.
I managed to finish 2 books. Thank you very much.
What the hell? I
only finished one.
Yeah. Actually, I've been reading some historical romances, but I don't want to talk about them because I had to stop reading both of them because they both were like, so anyway, the Civil War.
Yeah.
I think the South had a great point. So I'm
Ah,
like, well, I'm done with this book.
no.
Terrible.
I'm not even American, and yet
And
it's
yet,
some bullshit.
yeah, that's uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. Anyway, but the book that I am currently reading that I can talk about is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, which Sam said I would like. I'm
hope
only
you
like
do.
4 chapters in, so TBD. It starts off pretty fun.
TBD.
It's YA, but
It
it's
hits
very
the ground
whimsical.
running, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see. Perhaps this will be the YA that I can read.
I hope you like it. If you don't,
I hope
that's
so
also
too.
okay.
Okay. What about you guys?
Yeah, so I finished 2 books, but they're audiobooks, and I finished each of them in a day because I sit at a microscope all day. The first one I read was a rom-com. It's called The Proposal by Jasmine Gulleroy. I'm so sorry, I probably butchered that. Anyways, a cute little rom-com. Not my favorite, but it was fine. And then today I finished listening to The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, which was like the 2020 Goodreads literary pick of the year. So it was pretty good. Yeah, I liked it. And I remember when it came out, there was a huge amount of hype around it. It'd been on my list for the longest time. And then I watched one of my favorite booktubers, and she was like, oh, and I read this, and I went to the library and it was available. So I just, did that. Anyways, and then I am currently listening to, if my Goodreads wants to reload, because I'm going to mess this up, The Zoologist's Guide to the Galaxy, which has a promising title and cover, but the author has already mentioned Richard Dawkins 4 times in 20% of the book, so I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this one. And, yeah, that's where we're at.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, I finished one book, which was Out of the Shadows by Justina Ireland. It's one of these Star Wars The High Republic YA novels. It was fine. It took me like a month and a half to read it because it just did not hold my attention. But there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't think I was in the mood. And then I started listening to It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover.
Oh.
Yeah, I've never read a Colleen Hoover book, and I know some people say that she writes romance, and some people say that she absolutely does not write romance. So we'll see.
I definitely wouldn't have told you to start with that one, but
I've had it on hold for months just because I think Book Talk told me to read it. It's not really for me so far.
I didn't really like that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm only a third into it, so we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be like a wild and crazy twist at some point, because otherwise it's going to be really boring. Yeah. But we'll see. And I haven't started reading anything new in physical book yet. And this episode is coming out in July, which is totally when we're recording it. And our Midlight Book Club book of the month for July is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. So maybe by the time you've heard this episode, one of us will have read that book.
I mean, I've read it.
Again.
Only Hannah.
Just me. Yep.
Oh, I'm rereading
maybe
the entire
Hannah will
series.
have read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have 15 weeks on my audiobook hold for Throne of Glass. I'm number 39 on 5 copies, so I'm sure I will have read it by July.
And that's how far in advance we're recording. No. It feels like it.
Anyway, if you liked this chapter of Midlight Crisis, consider rating and reviewing us on Spotify or your podcatcher of choice. You can talk to us and find fun-related content on social media. We are at Midlight Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Maybe. And all chapters of the show thus far are available on our website, midlightpod.podbean.com, and on YouTube.
And now a quote from Eragon, who's really showing his kinship with Anakin Skywalker. It's hot, dry, and full of sand. It gets
coarse, rough, and
everywhere.
irritating.
They have to cross Tatooine to get to.
Oh man, they're going to Mos Eisley. That's what's east of the Hatterack Desert.
Mos Eisley.
Mos Eisley.
Mos Eisley.
There we go.
You get to the other side and they just start playing the Cantina song.
Yeah. I could put the real song in, but I think we'll just leave it at that.